You are walking through a desert that no longer has a name. The sand beneath your feet is warm, even though the sun has long since fallen below the edge of the world. The air is still. There is no wind tonight. There is only silence and the soft crunch of sand as you move forward, step by slow step, through a landscape that remembers everything. You do not know how you came to be here. You do not question it. Some part of you understands that you have been called to this place to walk among the ruins of a world that existed long before your own, long before the cities you know, long before the nations that rise and fall in the blink of an eye. You are here to witness what remains. You are here to listen to the stories that the stones still tell, if you are quiet enough to hear them. The sky above you is vast and dark, scattered with stars so bright they seem to pulse with their own slow breathing. The moon hangs low and heavy, casting everything in shades of silver and deep blue. You can see for miles in every direction, across rolling dunes, across flat expanses of hardened earth. And there, in the distance, you begin to notice them. Massive shapes rising from the desert floor. They are not mountains. They are too deliberate, too precise. As you move closer, your breath slows. Your heartbeat softens. You begin to understand what you are seeing. Pillars. You stop walking. You stand very still. Slowly, it becomes clear that you are not standing before a natural formation. You are standing in the remnants of a city, not a city like the ones you know. This was something older, something built by hands stronger than yours, by people who believed they could never fall. Long ago, after the great flood, when the earth was still young and the memory of the waters was fresh in the minds of humanity, there lived a people known as Ad. They were descendants of Ad, son of Oz, son of Aram, son of Sam, son of Noah, peace be upon him. They were among the first people to spread across the earth after the waters receded, traveling far in search of fertile land, until they settled in a region believed to be Al-Akaf, a land of vast dunes and valleys in the southern Arabian Peninsula. This land was not always a desert. It was once a place of rivers and gardens, of rain that came on time, of trees that bore fruit effortlessly. The people of Ad built their homes there, and they prospered. But it was not only the land that made them powerful, it was their bodies. You walk among the pillars now, moving slowly between them, and you begin to notice something else. The doorways carved into the stone are enormous. The archways that once led into halls and chambers are so tall that you would have to stack several men, one atop another, just to reach their highest point. The steps, where they still exist, are not made for feet like yours. Each one rises nearly to your knee, sometimes higher. These structures were not built for people like you. They were built by giants. It is said that the people of Ad were the tallest, strongest, and most powerfully built people ever to walk the earth. Some narrations describe them as reaching heights far beyond ordinary men, their shoulders broad, their limbs thick and heavy with strength, their voices deep and resonant, rolling across the land like distant thunder. They could lift stones that many men of later ages could not even shift. They carved into mountains as if the rock were soft clay. They built not with wood or fragile brick, but with solid stone, quarried from the earth, shaped by their own hands, without machines, without tools as you know them. You reach out and place your hand against one of the pillars. The stone is cold beneath your palm, smooth in places, rough in others. You can feel the marks where hands once worked, chiseling, shaping, transforming raw rock into something deliberate and enduring. You imagine those hands. You imagine their size, their strength, and in that moment, you feel very small. But there is no fear in that feeling, only wonder, only the quiet realization that you are standing in the shadow of something far greater than yourself, something that once existed and now is gone. A gentle wind begins to move across the desert. It slips between the pillars, whispering through empty doorways, stirring the sand at your feet. If you listen closely, you can almost hear voices carried within it, voices from a distant time. The people of Ad did not live in fear. They did not know weakness as you understand it. They woke each morning with the rising sun and worked the land with hands that reshaped the earth itself. They sang songs of their own greatness as they labored, voices echoing across valleys and fields. Their days began early. Before the first light touched the horizon, the men would rise and step outside their homes, breathing in the cool air of a land that was once green and alive. The women were already awake, preparing food, grinding grain, baking enormous loaves of bread in great ovens warmed by glowing embers. Children moved through the city as well, children already larger and stronger than grown men of later ages. By the time they reached 10 years of age, they worked alongside the adults, carrying heavy loads, guiding cattle, learning the skills that would one day shape mountains. The city was alive with sound, stone striking stone, voices calling across wide streets, laughter rising from courtyards and open squares. Everything about their lives reflected abundance. They built their homes to last forever. Thick stone walls fitted together so precisely that no mortar was needed. High ceilings carved with patterns of stars and seasons. Courtyards open to the sky, where water once flowed through carved channels, cooling the air and feeding gardens heavy with fruit. They believed they were building for eternity. They believed nothing could ever bring them down. You move deeper into the ruins, imagining those days as you walk. Days filled with labor and rest, with music and gathering, with confidence that tomorrow would always come exactly as today had. But abundance, when gratitude fades, can become blindness. And slowly over time, the people of Ad began to forget. They began to forget where their blessings came from. They forgot the one who had given them the land, the rain, the strength in their bodies, and the breath in their lungs. What began as confidence slowly turned into pride, and pride hardened into arrogance. They looked at the city they had built, at the pillars that reached toward the sky, and they said to one another, "We did this. We are the greatest people on earth. Who is stronger than us?" And so they began to worship what they could see. They carved idols from stone and wood, shaping them in their own image, setting them up in shrines and temples. They bowed before them. They offered sacrifices. They believed these idols protected them, guided them, gave them strength. They trusted the work of their own hands more than the one who had created their hands. There were still a few among them who remembered, a few who spoke quietly of gratitude, of humility. of the stories passed down from before, the flood, the mercy of Allah, the consequences of turning away. But their voices were soft, easily drowned out by celebration, by music, by the sound of stone being carved and monuments being raised. The city grew larger, the buildings grew taller, the pride grew heavier, and then a prophet was sent. His name was Hud. He was one of them, born among the people of Ad. He spoke their language, lived their lives, understood their ways. But Allah had chosen him to carry a message of warning, and a message of mercy. Hud walked through the city, through the wide streets and open squares, and he called to his people. His voice was calm, steady, clear. "O my people," he said, "worship Allah. You have no God other than Him. You are inventing falsehood." He reminded them of their blessings. He reminded them of the land that once flourished, of the rain that nourished their fields, of the strength they carried in their bodies. He told them that none of it belonged to them, that all of it was a gift. "I ask no reward from you," Hud said. "My reward is with the one who created me. Will you not then understand?" He warned them gently. He told them to seek forgiveness, to return to humility, to remember the one who had given them everything. He promised them that if they turned back, they would be given even more strength, even more blessing. But the people of Ad did not listen. They looked at Hud and saw only a man like themselves. They laughed at him. They mocked his words. "Who are you to warn us?" they said. "Are you stronger than us? Look at what we have built. Look at our power. Do you think your words can threaten us?" Some accused him of lying. Others called him foolish. They demanded proof. They challenged him to bring the punishment he spoke of, if he were truly sent. Hud did not respond with anger. He did not curse them. He continued to speak with patience day after day, hoping that even one heart might soften, that even one person might turn back. But the years passed, and the arrogance of the people only grew. They built higher, they carved deeper, they expanded their city across valleys and into mountains. They looked at the sky and said, "Nothing can touch us. We are eternal." And then slowly the land began to change. The rains that once came faithfully began to delay. The rivers grew thinner. The gardens that had once overflowed with fruit began to dry. The soil cracked beneath the sun. For the first time, unease entered their hearts. They looked to the sky and waited for rain. When it did not come, they gathered before their idols, offering sacrifices, singing louder, praying harder, but the sky remained silent. Months passed. The wells lowered, the cattle weakened. Whispers spread through the city. Some remembered Hud's words and wondered quietly if he had spoken the truth, but the leaders silenced those doubts. "This is only a test," they said. "We are the people of Ad. We endure. We do not break." And then, one day, they saw it. A cloud, dark and wide, rising on the horizon, moving slowly toward the city. The people rejoiced. They ran through the streets, shouting with relief, "The rain has come. The drought is over." Hud saw the cloud too, and his heart grew heavy. Hud looked at the cloud and knew the truth of it. It was not rain. He turned to the small group who had believed him, those few whose hearts had remained open, and he said quietly, "Come with me. Move away from the city." And they did. The cloud moved closer. It spread across the sky, blotting out the sun. The air grew heavy. Breathing became difficult. A strange stillness settled over the land, the kind that comes just before something breaks. Then the wind began. At first, it was little more than a whisper, a gentle movement through the streets. The people of Ad felt it brush against their skin and thought nothing of it. Some even welcomed it, believing it was the beginning of relief. But the wind did not stop. It grew stronger, slowly, relentlessly, like a breath that kept drawing in without ever being released. It pushed against the great pillars. It slipped through doorways and windows. It carried dust and sand through the city. The sound changed. What had been a whisper became a howl, a screaming wind, fierce and unyielding, sent by Allah as a punishment for a people who had rejected every warning. The people tried to take shelter. They retreated into their homes, closing heavy stone doors, hiding in the deepest chambers they had carved. But the wind followed them. It forced its way through every opening, filling the air with dust, making it hard to see, hard to breathe. The pillars began to tremble. Stone cracked. Walls that had stood for generations began to fail. The wind did not come in bursts. It did not weaken with time. It blew continuously through day and night for 7 nights and 8 days. The people of Ad, with all their size and strength, found themselves powerless. One by one, they were lifted by the wind, hurled across the land, and cast down again. Their lives left them quietly, without struggle, without resistance. When the wind finally ceased, the land was silent. The bodies of the people lay scattered across the desert, vast and still, like uprooted palm trees fallen on their sides. Their city stood broken, its pillars cracked, its greatness reduced to ruins. Only Hud and those who had believed with him were saved, protected by the mercy of the one they had trusted. Hud stood at the edge of the ruined city and wept, not for their strength, not for their buildings, but because they had been warned and had refused to listen. You walk away now, leaving the ruins of Ad behind. The sand stretches endlessly ahead of you. The night is quieter than before, the stars slowly shifting in the sky. You walk for a long time, letting the story settle within you, until you begin to see something else in the distance. Different ruins, not towering pillars this time, but cliffs, walls of red and golden stone rising from the desert floor. As you draw closer, you see dark openings carved into their sides. They are not natural. They are homes. You have arrived at the land of Thamud. After the destruction of Ad, generations passed. Time softened memory. What had once been a warning became a story, and what was a story became a legend. New people rose, and among them was the tribe of Thamud. They settled in a place called Al-Hijr, a land of stone cliffs and narrow valleys in the northern reaches of the Arabian Peninsula. Here they carved their homes directly into the rock, believing stone would protect them from anything. They had heard of Ad. They believed they had learned from the past. They believed they were wiser, and so once again they prospered. The people of Thamud lived well. They had enough, and they told themselves they were grateful. They thanked the idols they worshipped. Figures carved from stone, set carefully into shrines, symbols of forces they believed governed their lives. But like the people of Ad before them, they began to forget the one who truly provided. They looked at their carved homes and said, "Look at what we have made. Look how secure we are. Who could ever reach us here, surrounded by solid rock?" And so once again, a prophet was sent. His name was Saleh. He was one of them, born among Thamud, known to them, respected. He spoke clearly and calmly, and when he called his people to worship Allah alone, some listened, but most did not. "O Salih," they said, "you were once among those we hoped for. Do you forbid us from worshiping what our fathers worshipped? We are in doubt about what you call us to." Salih did not give up. He reminded them of mercy and warning. He spoke of Ad, the wind, the silence that followed, the strength that did not save them. He told them they were walking the same path. But the leaders of Thamud were proud. "We are not like Ad," they said. "We are wiser, we have learned. We carved our homes into the mountains. No wind can reach us here." So Saleh asked Allah for a sign, and Allah sent them a camel, not an ordinary camel, a sign, clear and undeniable. She emerged before them, calm and majestic, and she came with one condition. One day she would drink from the well, and the next day the people would drink. The water was to be shared. She was not to be harmed. For a time they obeyed. They watched her drink, amazed by her size and dignity. Some believed, some hearts softened. But resentment grew. They did not like sharing. They did not like being tested. They looked at the camel and saw only inconvenience. "This is our land," they said, "our water." Whispers turned into plans. Salih warned them, "Do not harm the camel of Allah. Let her graze freely, or a punishment will come." But they did not listen. A man was chosen. He approached the camel as she drank. She did not flee. She did not resist. And when she fell, the earth darkened beneath her. Some cheered, others turned away. No one stopped it. Salih's heart broke. "Enjoy yourselves in your homes for 3 days," he said. "That is a promise not to be denied." The first day, their faces turned pale. The second day, red. The third day, black. And on the fourth day, the earth trembled. A single blast, final and absolute. The people of Thamud fell where they stood. Within the homes they believed would protect them. Life left them all at once, as if the world had quietly closed a door. Saleh emerged with those who believed. He wept. "I conveyed the message of my Lord," he said, "but you did not love those who advise." And then he left. You walk away from the cliffs now, back into the open desert. The night is deep and still. The stars begin to fade one by one as the first quiet hint of dawn touches the far edge of the sky. The sand beneath your feet is soft, almost warm, and each step feels heavier than the last, as if the earth itself is gently inviting you to slow down. You have walked through the remains of 2 civilizations, 2 peoples who were given strength, skill, and abundance, 2 peoples who were warned, and 2 peoples who chose not to listen. As you move through the silence, you understand that these stories are not only about the past. They are not only about ruined cities and forgotten names. They are about something that lives quietly in every human heart. They are about pride, about forgetting, about how easy it is to look at what we have and believe that we built it ourselves, that we earned it, that it will last forever. The people of Ad were stronger than any who came after them, and their strength did not save them. The people of Thamud were clever and cautious, carving their homes into stone, and their cleverness did not protect them. Strength fades, cleverness fades. Everything that seems permanent eventually passes away. Only the one who created it all remains. You stop walking. You stand very still beneath the wide, quiet sky. You breathe in slowly, and then you breathe out. The air is cool and clean. It fills your lungs and leaves just as gently, carrying away tension you didn't realize you were holding. There is nothing you need to prove here, nothing you need to build, nothing you need to defend. You think about your own life, about the small blessings you often overlook, the steady rhythm of your breath, the way your heart keeps beating without being asked, the simple comfort of rest. You think about moments of beauty that arrived without warning, a sunrise, a kind word, a quiet night when everything felt calm. All of it is a gift. Your breathing slows, deep and steady, like waves reaching a distant shore. With each breath, you sink a little deeper into the earth, supported completely, held without effort. The stories of Ad and Thamud fade into the background, not forgotten, but settled, like lessons placed carefully where they belong. You no longer need to think about them. They have done their work. The desert around you is vast, ancient, and patient. It has seen countless lives rise and fall, countless footsteps pass through its sands, and now it holds you too, quietly, without judgment. You are part of this long human story. Small, yes, but not insignificant. You close your eyes. Behind your eyelids, everything is soft and dark. The world feels distant now, gentle and quiet. Your breath moves slowly, almost without sound. You are safe. You are held. You are allowed to rest. The sun rises somewhere beyond your awareness, warming the sand, lighting the ruins in gold. But you do not see it. You are already drifting, floating on the edge between waking and sleep. The pillars of Ad stand silent. The carved homes of Thamud remain still. They have spoken. Now they rest. And so do you. Sleep now. Sleep deeply. Sleep peacefully. You are safe in the arms of the desert, safe in the memory of giants, safe in the knowledge that everything passes and that mercy remains. Rest. The story is complete, and you are sleeping.